Thank you all for joining me for another episode of Keeping It Real with America's Supermom. I am here with Kelly. She and I are connected through Virtual Team Network. This is a referral group that we're a part of, and we actually have our chapter meetings on Wednesdays at 3 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. So it is a great opportunity for us to get together, get a little bit of business development in, network, get to know each other, and just have a good time. So, an hour is just not enough usually for a lot of things that you want to dive deeper in when it comes to finding out about somebody, what they do, and what makes them tick. So I'm excited to have her here today to talk to us about some things that are going on with her. But before we get started, I want to give her the opportunity to introduce herself.
Hi, thank you for having me, Lachelle. I'm super excited to be with you today. I really appreciate the opportunity to be on your platform and talk a little bit about what I do as an entrepreneur and who I serve and how I help and sort of my magic that I have. So I am, I like the word magic. I'm a brand and marketing strategist that helps entrepreneurs who are passionate about what they do to figure out their brand so that they can show up and shine and really grow their business with confidence using some of the tools that we know are out there for marketing, right? But it's an overwhelming place to play in, right? You just said you got sucked into 2 hours on Clubhouse.
Exactly. The truth is, it's been longer than 2 hours. That's just 2 hours in one room. Okay, let's keep it real. But, speaking of reels, okay, I've seen you do quite a few, and I mean, you just seem so natural about it. I love the storylines, some of them with your husband, your daughters. So for people that are out there that are just afraid of them, it's like, oh, I know I need to do reels, and that's the popular thing. What advice would you give them about doing them?
Yeah, I think that we often overthink the content that we're creating. And the biggest lesson that I learned, so in the last month, I had a reel go super viral. Like it had 720,000 views on it, which I just thought that is crazy how many eyeballs that means have seen this video. What was this video? It was my husband and me dancing to Mariah Carey in my living room. Like it was not educational. It was not a well choreographed dance. It was like the definition of keeping it real. Like he did a terrible job, which was really the point. But to me, it was about showing that he was willing to try and that we were just doing something for fun to try and keep ourselves entertained amidst all of the junk that's happening in the world. And that is truly what people are looking for, right?
Yeah.
Thinking about what people are consuming when it comes to content, it's things that will make us smile, things that make us feel better, things that make us happy, and things that are relatable. So
I love it.
It's not about overthinking your content and making sure you have this perfectly curated like post or these beautiful photos. In fact, what Instagram is saying about this based on that personal experience and the other videos, and my account blew up. I doubled my followers in a 2-week time frame. Like all of that happened because of this one video. It just shows you that that's what people are looking for. They just want to feel like connected to you. People were tagging their friends in that video, being like, this is us on Saturday night. Or if my husband tried to dance,
I love that. Now, for me, what I think about is I'm more of a nurturer, caretaker. So I already have 15 kids. So I'm thinking 720,000 views, that is like, how are you commenting and following up with people? Because that's what I think. So for somebody, for that happening, what changed for you after that video went viral?
Oh, interesting. Yeah. So one other perspective on this is like going viral. I don't know if we have this perception, at least I did before it happened to me, which was like, it happens like so fast overnight. Oh my gosh, you wake up and yeah, it does, but it's exponential. So, it started growing and it was like, oh, that's 10,000 views. Oh my goodness. And then the next day it was 20. And then it was like, it was growing by like 100,000 in a day or something like that. So it took like 2 weeks to get to that point. So as far as the comment management, it wasn't as like exhausting as it sounds like to go in there and actually be able to at least like and respond to most of them, right? For the most part. But there's people commenting in different languages too, so I couldn't even respond.
I see. Yeah, because see, this is the thing I think about. I think big picture. Everybody wants to go viral, but can you imagine if all your videos from that point went at that scale or greater every time you did one? See, that's what I think about. And I'm like, that's crazy. So, did you have to change anything since this has happened in your daily routine with staff, or what does that look like now for you?
Yeah. So I think one of the things to think about at the strategic level and why I was even like resisting putting out content like that wasn't, expert positioning, that's educational. I was used to creating that kind of content. I really wanted to teach people about marketing, teach them about branding, teach them the things that I teach them. And I wanted to focus on that. But I had a friend who was like, oh, with the reels, you just have to be more casual, more personality. And she had a few blow up, like big, like multi-million dollar, didn't turn into that, multi-million views on those reels, right? So I'm like, okay, I'll give it a try. And so once you have your account blow up like that, so you have all these eyeballs on your account, you have to think of, well, how do I capture this attention? What should I do now? Right? It's not just about the one video. It's about what are we going to say moving forward and making sure so when your reel goes wild, even if you do a reel at all, in fact, compared to just a regular post, you're going to see more engagement on the rest of your account. You're going to see higher views in your stories. So you need to be putting more content in those places that's going to get traction and activity. You're going to have more responses to things. So putting polls out there. I was like, I need to meet this whole new audience, right? Who are these people? Are these people really good fit, potential clients for me? Or are they just is it just random people who thought that my husband was a goofy dancer, or I don't know, or how many of them are robots even, right?
Yeah.
So there's a little bit of cleanup to do, but then thinking about how to you get to know and nurture and capture more of that audience. And I always say capturing off of social media back into your own world, which is email. So how do I maybe put my freebie out there so that I can get them on my email list instead of just in my Instagram? When I'm doing polls, I'm trying to learn who they are. Are they mompreneurs, or do they even have businesses? I even did a poll to see what percentage of people were business owners and things like that, just to kind of get to know them a little bit more and see how many of them are really qualified followers.
I love that. Now, so when you did this post, we know it was a reel. How long was it? Did you have all the hashtags? What really, how does someone post that to make it successful, content to be able to go viral?
Yeah. So a few things with reels. There's 2 different lengths. Well, you can do any lengths between 15 and 30 seconds, and that might depend on your account. But 15 seconds is all this video was. I used a popular sound, so you can search the trending music, and you'll see this is one that was being danced to by a bunch of different people. So it had been recreated a lot of times, and that's something that you should do, right? It's trending for a reason. You're supposed to follow the trend. You don't have to be a trendsetter everywhere, Like social media copying is flattery, So thinking about it that way instead of being like, oh, everyone's already done that video. It's like, well, this is our version of it. And then hashtags, yes. When you use hashtags on Reels, you want to use bigger hashtags. So hashtags that have multiple million tags attached to them versus that's the opposite strategy for a post. For a post, you don't want to put your post into a big, huge ocean of a million hashtag business, hashtag entrepreneur, hashtag marketing, those kinds of big ones. But you do on a Reel. I don't know why, but it's true.
Well, I think because of the contents being consumed in a shorter amount of time and people are looking at more of them, I would assume.
And Instagram is speeding those up more, right? Like they're just, if you put a reel, it's just going to get more. It's going to get served more than a post is.
Yeah. So I'm thinking that's it. This is great stuff. Now, so you have this magic brand formula. So, it's obvious that you know what you're doing, okay? Because we see what happened with the video. So talk to us about the magic brand formula.
Sure. So a lot of the time when people are telling me about their challenges with their business, they're talking about marketing. They're talking about like, why isn't my content working on social media? What do I even write in my emails? What do I say when I'm talking to people? How do I introduce myself? And the real answer to that question is, well, what is your brand, right? Your brand is a foundation that holds up your marketing. So when you're doing marketing all over the place, trying to do all these different tactics, like a podcast and a social media plan and being on all these different places, and what are you going to do? You need to know what your brand is. So I have created my proprietary process called the Magic Brand Formula that helps you figure that out. And it starts with who you are. So understanding yourself as a business owner, what your business is all about, what your story is, what your values are, and why that matters to people. So that's
I love that.
Yeah, and this is different, I think, than the way that you might see that taught in other places, which is, thinking about the audience first. I see you build your brand from the inside out, because then the step 2 is who you are for, and that's the audience, and that's figuring out your compatible client based on what you want to create, what you want to serve, how you want to help people, who you're actually positioned to help because of your experience, your story, what you want to contribute to in a bigger way in the world versus who's this in front of me right now and how could I potentially help that person? Because we can't, right? We can't help everybody. We are going to be better positioned to help certain people based on our own experience and our story and our mission, which is back to that brand, who you are. And then the last piece of the formula is why it matters. So your ability to actually communicate why, how you're helping, why somebody should come in, work with you specifically because you have this skill, you want to help this way, you have this story, your bigger picture vision is this, you know how to solve this problem. And sometimes, like in my case, I have to be able to say your problem that you think you have is marketing, right? You're struggling with this tactic that you think that you should be doing, but really, I know what you need. And what you need is a brand strategy to help you figure out your ideal client, your niche, your message, and the plan for how you're going to use that message to reach those people.
And that is so true because, this is what gets people caught up in shiny object syndrome or following everybody else's roadmap for, let's just say social media. So everybody's like, hey, you got to get on Facebook. Facebook is coming out with the new hotline. But if you know your customer and know what you provide, you may not find that Facebook works for you. And so you're not going to be distracted by that platform if you know who your ideal client is. So I think that is really key to remember, because a lot of times, we jump ship on a
Yeah.
lot of things thinking that we have to follow what everybody else is doing, but that may not, our customer may not be over there.
Oh, exactly. Because people always lead with that question, where should I market my business, Kelly? And I'm like, who are you marketing to? And who's your
So,
client? Oh, well, everybody. And then we're like, no, let's back it up.
mm-hmm, mm-hmm. I love that. Now, so you mentioned polls with your posts. So talk to us about some of these other things that we could do to kind of get engagement with our clients, or, great content that we should start posting in order to kind of get the ball rolling with that.
Yeah, exactly. And that's a key word right there, is engagement. Like that's the goal. So when you're thinking about social media, it's not like, how many posts do I have to do a day or a week, or how often do I have to show up? It's like, what is going to be engaging content that's going to elicit a response from somebody, so you can get to know them, so that you can have a conversation with them, so that you can see that they're interested in what you're talking about, and you can start DMing them and serve them further, and then make an offer to have a conversation that might lead to a sales call, whatever that process is, right? That's the end game. You have to be thinking about that. It's not just like quantity of posts. So when it comes to engagement, this mind-blowing trick that I'll tell you, ask for it. When you write a post, ask a question, ask for a comment, ask for them to like it, ask for them to tag somebody, ask for them to share it. End with that kind of call to action for engagement. Because think about it, like if you're scrolling, you're kind of like not in a proactive mindset. You're like, cool, cool, cool. And you might not even like tap or read or expand. But if something like asks you to do it, you're like, okay, yeah,
Right.
button, or I'll write it, or I'll think about it, and make it easy. Like if you can even make it a multiple choice question, that's always great too.
Mhm. I love that. Now, so how often do you do polls?
I polls were annoying me for a while because there was a lot of robots responding to them, and I was like,
Oh, okay. Didn't know, girl. That shows you how often I use them. Okay,
yeah.
but I did do one today. Okay.
In like your Instagram story, you use the poll feature, or you asked a question in a post? Do you mean?
Actually, I did it on LinkedIn.
Okay. Yeah.
So
So,
LinkedIn has the poll feature. So yeah, I
oh,
started out really simple. Do you prefer coffee or tea?
oh my God, that's so funny. That was the example I was going to use. Everybody wants to comment on that. So many people want to tell you what they drink. It's unbelievable.
Right. Yes. So that was one I did today. Yeah.
Pineapple bubbly actually is the best. So that's
Never
one.
had it.
Actually, I wonder if bubbly is Canadian, because it's Michael Bublé
Oh,
who.
yeah, yeah. You know what? I haven't seen it, but that doesn't mean anything because I
Like,
don't get out of
I don't know.
it.
Anyway,
Okay.
so yeah. So how, I mean, asking questions is good. I say put a call to action. So whatever version of that. So there, I think I just gave you 6.
Mhm.
Ask for a like, ask a question, tag a friend, ask them to share it, ask them to save it. That's the other one you can do. Um, yeah, so multiple choice question,
Now,
or
so when they save it, what kind of content should we be putting up there for them to save?
hmm,
Because that's
I
intriguing.
yeah, I like that for educational content. So if you are giving a tip or advice around something, that's something somebody might want to come back to and watch again later, or keep, right, as a reference.
Mhm.
Even if it's like if somebody was in travel and they were like 5 things to do when you're in Atlanta,
Mm.
that would be something I would save for later whenever I can ever come to Atlanta.
Now, do you save? Is this feature only on post or is it on carousel? I mean, stories.
Ooh, no, you can't save a story. Story,
Okay, but you can save a post. So if
yeah.
you're doing something educational, you can do a post that's a carousel though, right?
Mm-hmm.
Or not? Okay.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. All right. Sounds
I
good. Look, I'm learning, girl.
and actually the carousel posts usually do pretty well because there's multiple images. Instagram will show that multiple times. It'll start by showing the first image in your carousel. The next time you come on, it'll show this another image. So it'll just go, it ranks a bit higher from my
Oh,
understanding of the algorithm.
okay. That's good. That's good. Now, so what basically got you into branding and marketing?
Hmm. Well, I actually have a degree in it, in public relations. But so I worked in PR. I have a degree in PR. I worked for a lot of big corporations for about 10 years. And then I was working for an agency, a public relations agency. So it was a lot of reputation management, media outreach, things like that. And uh, in contentious sort of industries like pipelines and oil sands, energy development. I actually worked for BP when the oil spill happened, so lots of crisis communications. That was kind of what I was doing, and then I was working for an agency, and my mom was getting really sick with breast cancer,
Mhm.
and one day that her health just took a total side track and it made me realize that I needed to do something differently. I was like, why am I at this job right now? So
Yeah.
I left my job on a leave of absence and unfortunately we lost her 8 days later.
Oh, I'm so sorry.
Thank you. But that was one of those moments that just you just look at your life and you get new perspective, you know. We know that life is short, but do we really know? We don't know until we experience something like that. I think I sure didn't. And I was
Right.
only 30 when it happened.
Hmm.
So I just thought, well, I can't be shipping my kids off to childcare at 6 in the morning, picking them up at 5:30. You know this game. Like everybody's hungry and they want to eat now or we all die. Everybody's
Right.
crazy
Yeah.
at 5:30. And then they're like 1 and 3 years old. So they go to bed at like 6:30.
Yeah.
So you have no time together. And all I'm doing is cooking and stressing and driving. And I was
Yeah.
like, no, this is not what I want. So I was like, well, I have this skill set. I have this community where we have lots of entrepreneurs. And I know that when you start a business, you didn't plan on being a marketing specialist, but you're wearing all the hats, right? Because you're trying to manage the money and the time and all the things.
Mhm.
So I actually came at it from a different perspective of wanting to help teach entrepreneurs how to optimize their marketing by creating brand strategies. And because even if you do end up outsourcing something when it comes to marketing,
Mhm.
design, your website, any of these things, those vendors are going to ask you questions that you need to be able to answer. You need
Right.
to be able to guide it and say, this is how I want to show up. This is what I want my brand to look like visually. This is what the look and feel and the sound and the voice is of the content if somebody else is creating it for you. You need to know your brand. You are the creator of that brand.
So true. That makes so much sense. And I was a marketing major, and I lost my dad to cancer about 6 years ago.
Hmm.
So, yeah, and that's really when I went into coaching because just the whole idea that, when you have time, you want to make it count, being able to help people. So that's just so funny that we have that in common. But yeah, you got to know who you are, what it is you serve, how you solve problems, save time, solutions, and things like that. So I think
Mhm.
this is great content and insight because a lot of people they want the business, want the growth, and even just managing growth. If you don't know where you're going, You know what I'm saying? It's just like you get these numbers and you just don't know what to do with them, right?
Yeah, yeah, and the brand is so much more than what does my logo look like? What are the colors I'm going to use? Like the things we think about usually with brand are usually visual, but your
Mhm,
brand is the guiding principles for your entire business. It's
mhm.
how you will, when you know your brand, you know whether you're going to partner with somebody or collaborate on something or sponsor something or want to be featured in a specific kind of publication or even create a new offering.
Yeah.
That's all from your brand.
So true. And that clarity, I mean, I was listening to a podcast the other day and they said when you're clear, you don't have to worry about distractions looking like opportunities. And I
Mm,
thought that is profound because everybody coming up with different things, you'll be like, look, I'm not going that way. That doesn't even serve me or my clients or whatever. So I
mm.
think that it's a great thing about that brand, knowing where you are to know where you're headed. So this has just been great insight. I hope everybody's been taking notes because this is just great content. So what's your favorite social media platform?
I like to hang out on Instagram. It was funny when Reels started. I was like, "Oh no, I've been avoiding TikTok. I didn't want TikTok to come over here." And now I'm like, "I like Reels every day."
I know, even though when TikTok came out, I was crazy with that too, because it's like, oh, the video's just a minute. You look up and 3 or 4 hours has passed, but you've got a lot of content that you consumed. I mean, I remember when I first got on, I was like, honey, they have DIY projects on here and recipes. I went into this thing every day. I was cooking something from TikTok. My
Really?
kids were like, Mom, what is this? Where'd you get this from? I'm like, TikTok, y'all. I'm telling you. So, yeah. And then I got off of it when they were talking about China was trying to find out stuff about people. And I haven't really been back on it since. And
Mm.
now, it's like you said, now the reels are coming over to Instagram. So
And
you kind of
yeah,
can't beat them. You got to join them, right?
I am not. I don't have a TikTok account at all. Huh. So
Hmm.
there's the thing when people also ask me like, what platforms do I need to be on? And I'm like, whichever ones you'll actually be active on,
Yes,
right?
that's a good point.
First of all, is your client actually there? Second of all, are you actually interested in posting and creating consistency there? Because if you're not going to. It's not going to
Right.
help you if you go on there once every 3 weeks, like I used to do on LinkedIn.
Yeah, I feel you. It gets like that. Now, so this is my thing because this is what I do, which is sad. I engage on my notifications and I hardly ever scroll. So, what do you do? I mean, what's a good balance to kind of keep it, engaging or something? Because I do engage on my posts, but what's a good formula that we should follow?
Ooh, I don't have a formula per se for that, but one thing to think about is always meeting people where they're at. So if there's people like you kind of have to keep a list of people who are engaging with you regularly if you don't have it in your head, like
Okay.
there's people who are going to respond to things most often. Go visit them on their profiles, comment on their things. You don't have to follow them if you don't want to, but actually engaging on their stuff shows your interest and it creates that bond. Like if you go over there, or if you are following a hashtag, you want to look at a hashtag that certain people see who's following that, go comment on some of their stuff. That's how you get out into the world and create engagement, not just like, hey, I'm in my house. If you come in my house, I'll say hello, but I'm not gonna leave my house, right? You
Mhm.
don't get very far if you don't leave your house.
Now, so it sounds like you might even like save some of their stuff and they'll save yours or something. You can be the example to show them how to engage maybe too.
Yeah, yeah, for sure.
Hmm. So that's good. Now, so how much time do you spend on social media usually?
I probably spend about an hour a day or
Oh,
less.
that's
Yeah. I try and
that's
spend I batch create content. So it's shifting a little bit because I'm doing more reels. So I'm batching and it takes less time even than writing the posts used to. I used to batch an hour a week for 5 posts and have it all written out and schedule it and everything in that hour. And then go and engage for like 20 minutes a day. But I'm finding it's like more about when I feel like being on, that I'm going to just stay on for a longer period of time rather than like checking in 4 times a day. I'd rather go on for like 45 minutes in my wind down time at 8 o'clock at night, engage with other people, post my stuff then maybe, rather than scheduling a lot of it.
That's good. That's good. So good tips, I tell you. So this is great stuff. So what is the best way for the audience to get a hold of you if they need some of these branding strategies?
So definitely find me on Instagram. I'm at KS underscore COMMS. And my website is ks-communications.ca.
All right. Well, this has just been delightful, Kelly, and looking forward to seeing you tomorrow at our usual Wednesday meeting. So, what final words would you like to share with everybody this evening?
Hmm. My final words are that you are the only person who does what you do the way that you do it. So own that brand, step into it, and shine unapologetically.
Love that. That's a great message. So, you guys, thank you so much for watching. And if something Kelly said resonated with you, I encourage you to reach out to her just to have a conversation. If you have any questions, feel free to put them in the comments and we'll be sure that she gets those as well. But in the meantime, again, Kelly, we wanted to thank you so much for spending your time sharing your insights with us because those were some great tips for today.
Thank you so much, everybody.
All right. Well, we'll see you guys on the next episode. Bye for now, and thanks for watching.